Hi, my name is Leon Twazama, and I'm a student at Clayton State University. And today I'm going to be talking about the American Civil War, the Union versus the Confederate States. And we're going to talk a little bit about what happened and what led to the American Civil War. What are some key events to the Civil War? What are some key figures that participated in the American Civil War? And we're gonna know some of the last battles and who was the president that was in charge of the American Civil War. But first, I would like to say the president in charge of or the president that was in charge of the American Civil War was President Abraham Lincoln. And before Abraham Lincoln became president, the 14th president of the United States was James Buchanan. And James Buchanan was known, he was like famously known to be the president that served prior to the American Civil War. So after James Buchanan became the 14th president of the United States, and then Abraham Lincoln succeeded him and became the 15th president of the United States. And it was Abraham Lincoln leadership or presidency that the American Civil War rose. And the Americans decided to split, the northern states and the southern states. And the northern states were called the Union, and the southern states were called the Confederate States of America. And because they didn't want to be subjected to Abraham Lincoln. They didn't want to be under the rule and command of President Abraham Lincoln, because Abraham Lincoln, his theory was about freeing slaves, making slaves free and establishing the best for the United States. But the lots of slave owners that were up southern states didn't agreed with Abraham Lincoln. So what happened was they decided to leave the United States and formed their own states. So they named themselves the Confederate States of the United States. So Abraham Lincoln was the president of the United States and also like the Union, but because the issue of slavery divided the United States, the Confederate States went on and they established their own government, and they had their own election. And on April 9, the Confederate States decided to elect Jefferson Davis from Georgia. Jefferson Davis from Georgia, so he was elected as president of the Confederate States of the United States, and President Abraham Lincoln was president of the Union. So we had like two main presidents of during the time of the Civil War. You had two main presidents. So the Confederate States and the Union States decided to Abraham Lincoln was like, it's time to put end to slavery. We can't keep doing this. Gotta let them go. We gotta let people be free. And we have to make sure that the slaves are free instead of people being slaves. But being the president of the United States and the Union, and then he had the Confederate States, and against him. So the issue of slavery became one of the main factors divided the United States. Issue of slavery divided the United States, and that's why we end up having the Confederate States of the United States and the Union. The Civil War began with the Suffolk Truth that battered the Stumper in South Carolina after Abraham Lincoln true was in South Carolina. He just waiting to explore. So that was when the battle began. The battle began in South Carolina, and but the thing is, the Union had more men. They had more gun power. They had more industrialized resources than the Confederate States. So the Union States. But the thing is, the Confederate States, they had one of the deadliest general ever. They had General Robert E. Lee, and man, Robert E. Lee was like the Kobe Bryant of our time. Michael E. Lee, he was like Robert E. Lee was like the deadliest and the war hazard. Like the genius. But the Union, on the other hand, they didn't have much general. They had few generals that came in, they were all scared to battle with Robert E. Lee because he was good. He was good. But at the end of the day, Abraham Lincoln found Ulysses S. Grant. So Grant led the Union troop, and then Robert E. Lee led the Confederate troop to battle. So there were lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of battles that were fought. But the interesting thing is, Robert E. Lee and Ulysses Grant did not meet on the battlefield until the end of the American Civil War on May of 1864. That was when the two commanders met. So the deadliest battle of all battles in the United States was the Battle of Gettysburg, the Battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania. That was the deadliest battle. That was when people died and people died and people died. So the Unions, like I said, the Civil War lasted for about approximately 5 years, from 1861 to 1865. So that was when the United States Civil War lasted. But the Union at the end won the Civil War because they had a lot of manpower, and President Abraham Lincoln, he used the Emancipation Proclamation, which allowed slaves to be free. So he used the proclamation. I mean the Emancipation Proclamation, we allowed slaves to be free. So he used that, and the slaves were free. So they joined the Union to fight slavery. So he used slavery as a team. So the slaves that were free after the Emancipation Proclamation, they joined the Union, and they decided to fight against slavery. So they joined the Union Army, and they fight the Confederate States, and at the end, the Union States, the Union won the American Civil War. But oh man, there were lots and lots of blood to be shed. But uh, the Civil War left lots and lots of destruction. A lot of things got destroyed while fighting the Civil War. But at the end of the day, the Union were the ones that were victorious in the Civil War. And then because Robert E. Lee was, because Ulysses S. Grant was victorious in the war, he turned on to become the 16th president, the 18th president of the United States. So after the American Civil War, or in the president of the American Civil War, was when President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and his vice president Andrew Johnson took office and became the president after President Abraham Lincoln. But the run of what I said, the battle was deadliest battle. There was a lot of battles forced, and Robert E. Lee was a commander, and then Ulysses S. Grant was for the Union, and last and a lot of people, they were destroyed because of the American Civil War. And at the end of the day, the Union was victorious. And then, at the Battle of Gettysburg, when that was where President Abraham Lincoln made a famous speech, and people liked it, and people decided to end the American Civil War. So I hope it was fun. I hope it was victorious, and kudos. Bye bye.